Hello and welcome to the next Combat Carper vlog, and for this edition once again we're back at Linear Fisheries and we're going to be fishing on Hardwick Lake. Now I actually got here this morning with intent on fishing on B2 and I got a bucket into peg 5, but I was down at the fishery last week and I had 20 fish out of peg 4 and it took 20 fish to get to a 30 pounder. I was pretty much just putting 20s back in the end, and I jumped on Hardwick for the remainder of the session. I caught a really nice scaly one and a nice upper 20 common, and the lure of just fishing Hardwick, you know, it's the first lake I ever fished when I came to the fishery. I absolutely love it here. Sorry about the cars whizzing past, it's one of those things you can't avoid when you're here. And yeah, I just want to be back onto Hardwick and give myself a chance of getting a really nice scaly one, hopefully a 30 for the vlog. So we've jumped into peg 2 just for the time being. The peg that I'm going to move into is peg 3. There's some guys just finishing off their session at the minute, and it does look good for it. Now, even though the water is relatively deep in front of me, it's sort of 13-14 feet, the fish are on the surface now, quite active. So I've slung 3 zigs out at 14, 13 and 12 feet to hopefully snaffle one before we can move into peg 3 and then look to get the session going. But I think it's going to be one of those ones with the weather we've got. It's going to be really, really hot these next few days, where it's just going to be a case of fishing zigs during the day and then fishing on the bottom at night. So fingers crossed, let's see how we get on. Well, that's the third zig in play, and I think it's time to get out of the sun and have something to eat, because it is absolutely scorching. We're close to 30 degrees today. I'm not expecting much to happen, but before I got the zigs out, just had a quick lead around just for the spot I'll probably fish later on tonight, and it's best to get this sort of stuff done when there's probably very little chance of getting a bite on the bottom. So make all the disturbance now means tonight I can just get the 3 rigs out, put bait over the top with yeah, less disturbance, rather than thrashing it to a foam just as the fish are hopefully starting to switch on. So these are in play now, let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm just gonna get out of the sun, have something to eat, I think. So, see what happens. It's coming towards the end to what has been a very hot day. It's just gone 5:30 and it's been scorching stuff. I think it's been about 28 degrees. It's only going to get hotter as the week goes on. I think it's 33 on Tuesday. Nothing's happened since last spoke to you, and I'm not surprised, to be honest. You know, zigs work best for me anyway around winter, springtime. I've never done that great on them in the summer months, and you just tend to find the fish are just like being lazy, just sat on the surface, cruising around, chilling out, and I don't blame them. It's exactly what I'd be doing if I was in their shoes. So I am going to keep fishing zigs till sort of 8, 9 o'clock tonight, but what I am going to do is put some bait onto the area that I'm going to be fishing tonight, and I'm going to do that with absolutely no line pressure. You know, I'm fishing these zigs quite short, sort of 40-50 yards where the fish have been, and the area I'm going to be fishing is a little bit past that. So if they do come and investigate the area, there's going to be no line pressure. I can have a bit of a free feed and hopefully get a little bit of confidence in them for what I hope will be a busier night and productive morning. You know, the nights I was on here last week, most of the guys were catching between sort of 4 and 8 a.m. So if that's going to be the case, then there's absolutely no rush in getting these rods on the bottom. So I'm going to fish zigs for a little while longer, and then in a little while, like I say, about 8, 9 o'clock, get them on the bottom, and then I'll be up bright and early to see what's going on in and around the areas. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled to the right hand side. It does look like there's going to be half a chance of some floater action later if the gulls leave me alone, because there's a lot of fish in short. They've not been interested in floaters so far, but I don't expect them to be again, because it's, you know, it's a bit hot at the minute. It becomes 6, 7, 8 o'clock, there might be half a chance. So yeah, that's the plan of action. So let's get a bit of baiting and I'll catch up with you in a little while. Well, good morning. It's just gone 10:30. Unfortunately, nothing to report on the catch front, but it has been a very busy morning. I woke up at 4:30, just before first light, and the fish were ultra active, but mainly just to the right of me, sort of maybe 50-60 yards out. So I was chasing them around a little bit with jigs and a couple of side bags, so unfortunately I couldn't nick that bite. So I think what I'm going to do today is just find an area slightly shorter to my right hand side, still within my swim, to get at least one rod, probably two, down on the deck for tonight, because they were feeding in gusto. You know, they were really tearing the bottom up, but yeah, unfortunately just couldn't nick a bite. So yeah, that's gonna be the plan of action for today. And like I say, it's just gone 10:30 and it's already scorching hot. So gonna get these rods in off the bottom. I'm not gonna say put them out in a token effort on the zigs. I'm still going to do the best I can with them. I'm going to have one at 12, one at 11, and I might put the third one out later on once I finish leading around, just to see if we can, I'm not going to say not fluke one, but it's, you know, very little chance during the day. They're so docile during the day, they're just sort of like dossing around. I don't blame them, it's just going to be ultra hot. So yeah, that's the plan of action. Hopefully We're going to have a bit more luck tonight and into tomorrow morning, and unfortunately it's just going to be one of those ones like most of the time it is in summer, where you just got to sit out the day, wait for the next bite window, which will probably be during the hours of darkness into early morning. So yeah, let's get busy and see what spots we can find to the right of the swim. I'm just doing the same thing did yesterday. Well, it's absolutely pants for fishing on the bottom. Just putting a little bit of free bait out onto the area that I intend to fish tonight. I'm just going to give them 9 or 10 spots, hopefully prime the area, so yeah, later on when I do get the rods out, they've already had a bit of a free feed, or at least they know the food's there and it's safe. So yeah, certainly doesn't do any harm when the weather's hot and it's pretty much no chance of getting a bite on the bottom. Just to refresh your spots, and then you've got all the disturbance done while the fish are not in a feeding mood, you know, doing it coming into twilight or first light when fish are really down there isn't generally the best idea. So get this stuff done out of the way now, and then all I have to do later on is put the rods back into the zone. Well, that is the end to a very long and unproductive day. Unproductive on the fish front, that's for sure. It's been 30 odd degrees today. Seen quite a few, you know, cruising around right on the surface. I've had zigs right in their face and just completely ignoring them, which, as I said earlier on, it's not to be unexpected. I don't really find zigs on hot sunny days to work that great, but yeah, it's pretty much the only tactic I can play around with at the minute. It keeps the line pressure out of the areas I'm fishing on the bottom, and when I do put the floaters out, you know, the gulls just absolutely murder it, so it's a no-go. But we've got the rods into play now. It's just gone 6 o'clock and it's nice and overcast, still very, very muggy and hot. It explains the sweaty shirt, sorry about that, but yeah, it's going to be another scorcher tomorrow, and I'm very confident that we're going to get an opportunity tonight / tomorrow morning. You know, they were here last week, and the last 2 mornings they've really shown up in numbers in this area just to my right hand side. So like I said, I found that spot a little bit shorter and I put 2 rods on that, baited it really accurately. Super happy with that. Got 2 rods in play now, so when the fish do turn up a little bit later on, you know, everything's set and ready to go. And once again, I'm going to be up nice and early, just see what's going on. There might be an opportunity just to put a solid bag, assuming no one takes a peg to my right, a little bit further down to the right, so to try and nick one, because tomorrow's my birthday and I really want a birthday carp. And yeah, this is my favourite lake. Like, I love the fishing here. they're worth the extra little bit of effort. You don't catch as many generally on Hardwick, but you know, they're absolutely gorgeous. They're nice and scaly most of the time. So yeah, fingers crossed. I've done all I can do now. So all I'm going to enjoy is a nice glass of red wine, let the evening unwind and see what occurs. So if nothing happens during the night, I'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning. It's just gone 6 o'clock and unfortunately no birthday carp for me yet. I'm going to be making a move today. I'm going to hop over one peg into peg 2. That's been 2 mornings running now where the fish have really shown up there in numbers and I can't ignore it any longer. You know, there might only be 20, 30 yards away, but I've been in this peg for 2 nights now and I can't nick a bite. So if I have to make that move to get one before this session ends, so be it. I'd rather make a positive move, you know, try and force something to happen and sit here and hope that they will turn up on me eventually, which, you know, they probably will, but I'd rather, you know, force the action rather than sit here and think, what if tomorrow if I haven't caught? So we'll slowly start breaking down camp and sit through this bite time, probably wait till 7:30 and then make a move over there because yeah, I can't ignore it anymore. It's really quite interesting as well because it's generally the deepest, flattest part of the lake, if that makes sense. There's lots of deeper areas, but it's sort of 14, 15 feet most of the way in front of that peg, and you know, they're really feeding in gusto in front of it. So there must be something going on the lake bed. There might be some sort of bloodworm bed that they're really tearing up, but yeah, I need to make that move. So have this coffee, slowly break down camp and then make a move, and it's God, choose my days to do it. It's gonna be 34 degrees today, so a bit of a birthday beast in, but yeah, needs must, so let's get on with it. Oh, good afternoon. It's just gone 6 o'clock and it's been a very quiet day. Not much to tell you about. After sat through morning bite time, unfortunately nothing happened. I had the fish all over me again. Decided to wind in about 11 o'clock, went up the shop, got myself some supplies, got a steak for later. It's my birthday, so I'm going to enjoy that one. And I came back, had a good lead up to find 2 really, really good areas I was going to be happy with fishing this last night. I've decided to fish 2 areas because the fish were feeding in quite a large area the last couple of mornings, so I'm going to fish 2 out in front and then 1 slightly shorter to my left, so split my options and hopefully, you know, one of those will burst into gear tonight. And we've got 1 more night to make this happen, and I'm glad I made the move because, like I said, I'd rather force a positive change and just sit and hope. So I'm going to finish getting this bait in and then get the rods in a little while after that, and they're going to be as meticulous as I can be because I do want to finish this session with the fish on the bank. Nobody wants to blank on their birthday, so I'm going to crack on and then get these rods into play and get that steak on the go. Well, good morning, and great success. We've got one in the bag, and if this is the only fish that I catch from this session, it doesn't get much better than that. Two-tone leather, 29 pound 9, but the weight's immaterial. What a cracking fish. This has been a slog of a session dealing with some horrendous heat, just basically sitting out the days hoping for a bite window, and to finally get one on the final morning, oh, I'm absolutely overjoyed. So take a couple of snaps, get this one back, and then get packed up and head for home. Well guys, that's it, and one epic way to end it. I'd rather catch a single fish like that, an absolute perler, than catch 10, 20, 30 fish on B2 any day of the week. One absolutely awesome fish. Really hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you did, please remember to click the like and subscribe button to help out the channel a ton, and I'll see you on the bank very, very soon.